that I have an odd schedule, and that if I were to shift my schedule slightly, I would be doing Islamic fasting. Since then, my schedule has shifted, so Islamic fasting is now my normal life. As many of you know, I have a son with special needs. I stay up with him at night and I sleep during the day. I eat dinner, my last meal of the day, around 5 o'clock a.m. I go to sleep around 8 or 9 in the morning. I wake up around 4 in the afternoon. I do a few things and then I make sure I eat something before we go live at night. What does this mean? It means that my normal everyday life is year-round Islamic fasting.
David Wood never misses an opportunity to mock Islam, but this time his argument is beyond ridiculous. He claims that because of his unusual eating schedule, where he eats at 5 a.m. and then again in the evening, he's basically doing Islamic fasting every day. But is that what fasting in Islam actually means? Or is this just another pathetic attempt to mislead his audience? Let's break it down and expose the ignorance. Before we even entertain David Wood's claim, let's define what fasting, Sawm, actually means in Islam. Islamic fasting requires 4 key elements. 1. Intention, niyyah. Fasting isn't just about skipping meals. It's an act of worship done purely for the sake of Allah. If there's no sincere intention to fast for Allah, it's not Islamic fasting. 2. Complete abstinence. Fasting in Islam means no food, no water, and no marital relations from dawn to sunset. It's not just adjusting meal times, it's a complete physical and spiritual discipline. 3. Self-restraint and righteousness. True fasting is not just about hunger, it's about controlling desires, avoiding sins, and improving character. A person fasting must avoid lying, cursing, gossiping, and all sinful behavior. 4. Increased worship and devotion. Ramadan is a time for extra prayers, Taraweeh, reciting the Quran, giving charity, and strengthening one's relationship with Allah. So now, let's compare this to what David Wood is doing. Is he fasting for Allah? No. Does he abstain from food and drink all day? No. Does he increase his worship and devotion? No. Does he avoid sin and bad behavior? Definitely not. Clearly, his lifestyle has nothing to do with Islamic fasting. David Wood says that because he eats before dawn and then eats in the evening, he's technically fasting like a Muslim. But by that logic, a person doing intermittent fasting for weight loss is also a Muslim, fasting for Ramadan? A person skipping breakfast is also fasting like a Muslim? A night shift worker who eats only in the morning and evening is suddenly fasting for Islam? This is beyond ridiculous. Skipping meals doesn't make someone a Muslim, just like eating vegetarian meals doesn't make someone Hindu. The missing piece, the spiritual element. The entire purpose of fasting in Islam is spiritual purification, controlling desires, strengthening willpower, and becoming closer to Allah. David Wood's version? Skipping meals while continuing to spread lies and mock Islam. That's not fasting, it's just a normal eating schedule. So what's next? Will he claim that because he believes in Moses, he's following Judaism? Or that because he drinks water, he's practicing Buddhism? This is the level of absurdity we're dealing with. Here's the real irony. While David Wood mocks fasting in Islam, modern science proves it's one of the healthiest practices in the world. Boosts metabolism and weight loss. Fasting increases insulin sensitivity, reducing diabetes risk, cellular repair and longevity. Triggers autophagy, the body's natural cell cleaning process. Improves brain function. Reduces inflammation, enhances mental clarity, and protects against Alzheimer's. Builds discipline and self-control, strengthens willpower, and reduces unhealthy cravings. So while David mocks Muslims for fasting, scientists, doctors, and health experts praise it. Now here's the funny part. David himself follows a form of intermittent fasting but calls it normal life.
If I were to shift my schedule slightly, I would be doing Islamic fasting. Since then, my schedule has shifted, so Islamic fasting is now my normal life.
So is he mocking himself? If he had even the slightest bit of honesty, he would admit that Islamic fasting is a scientific and spiritual discipline that brings countless benefits. But instead, he resorts to childish mockery. This is not the first time David Wood has made a ridiculous argument to mislead his audience. He claimed the Quran copied the Bible, completely false. He claimed the Quran has scientific errors debunked with actual evidence. Now, he claims he's doing Islamic fasting again. Total nonsense. See the pattern? This isn't about truth. It's about mocking Islam, no matter how absurd the argument. But here's the thing. Truth always wins. His entire career is built on twisting words and making deceptive claims. But every time he gets exposed. So, what have we learned today? Islamic fasting is about worship, self-restraint, and spiritual discipline, not just meal timing. Skipping meals does not equal fasting in Islam. If it did, then billions of people around the world would be fasting for Islam without realizing it. David Wood's argument is pure ignorance. He is not fasting Islamically. He's just following his personal routine, which has nothing to do with worship or self-discipline. Science proves that fasting is beneficial, while David Wood is busy mocking it. So the next time you hear someone say, "I skip meals too, am I a Muslim now?" just remember, fasting in Islam is far more than just food. If you found this video informative, hit like, share it, and subscribe for more truth bombs. Assalamu alaikum.